Get it going. We are live. What's happening, crypto farm and futureverse friends? Welcome back to Love for Crypto. I'm Scott. It's a pleasure to have you here, whether you're tuning in now or in the future. I appreciate you taking the time out to consume the content, so thank you. Hopefully I bring you a bit of value today. If you haven't watched the previous tutorial, go and give it a watch. It's literally just the previous one in the live streams list. Then come back to this, because I'm going to assume that you've already pulled a Seeker into Unreal Engine. If you were struggling and haven't even got Unreal Engine, there's a link in the description to download it. When you do download it, you'll download the launcher. You come to Epic Games, and this is what you'll be greeted with. You want to click Unreal Engine. Alright, so we give Unreal Engine a click, we end up on the actual engine. Flaming air there. Get that out of the way. This is the engine. For anyone worried about a scene, creating a scene and you want it outside, you haven't got any packs or anything, we're going to come to Marketplace. Once you sign in to Unreal Engine and you've got an account and everything, you will have access to all this. We're going to come to free, and every month this changes. So we're going to click free for the month. And at the moment, good afternoon, Kevin, Florida. Nice to have you in the house. Just explaining that there is a biomes. Oh, it's unbelievable. There's a biomes project. It's procedural biomes. It's usually £117. It's currently free for this month. It's got multiple biomes with demo levels, trees, rocks, ground meshes, 3 maps with 2 kilometer squared play area for each biome, 3 biomes. Excuse me. So with 2 kilometer squared play area in each biome and 3 different maps, from a winter map, a northern map, and a Mediterranean map, I believe it is. All sorts there. We can add it to the engine, add to project, and you're ready to go with all the assets from in there. There's also much more within the permanently free collection. So if you're struggling, there's loads. There's low poly, high poly, there's cars, there's all sorts you can add. If you're worried about the IP thing, or where am I going to get other assets, they're all there, available. You can see I've got one that I've previously used, Polar Sci-Fi Facility. Nice little thing that could potentially make a good Seeker scene. I might actually use that. Anyway, once we've got it, it will appear in your library. After you've launched the engine, set a project up, you'll just find the pack you want to add and add it to the project. Fairly easy. Once launched, you'll be inside your project. Follow the first tutorial and you'll be where I am now, with some Seekers in the scene. Now, towards the back end of the last stream, you actually made a mistake on the Seeker screen, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't realize it. I did need a little bit of a break. But when you come to the Seekers at the side, what you should see is a pane of glass in front of the screen. Last time we didn't have that. We actually put on the master, the screen glass master we made black, where it's the M screen's master that should be black, and the screen glass master should be see-through. Again, that's in the previous video, how to put together this material. So how to make it black. With the opacity tricks that we learned through making glass, with becoming translucent and surface translucency volume, if your Seeker has a cracked screen, then inside the textures you uploaded will be a broken glass texture. Now that'll be there to use in the same vein with the alphas, if you want to put the cracked glass on the front of your Seeker. There is also the eyes. So if I come to these eyes, we will see the black squares around them. Whereas if we come to these eyes, you don't see it. We did the same thing there. If I get the materials back up, it's literally just using the actual eyes. So, oh, no, Scott. There's usually black there. If we pull that out the opacity, and just go in the normal, well, the black started coming back anyway. But the black comes back when we start going like that. We've even lost the white. We don't want RGB in there. We want alpha into base color, alpha into opacity. It's set up as glass, surface translucency volume, with translucent at the top. And the different shade of black goes away. Now, if you change the screen behind that and it comes back, you're going to have to do the same. I think some of them are actually pixelated. So look at that. Just Google pixelated textures, Unreal Engine. There's so much content on YouTube for Unreal Engine. It's just quite difficult if you try to find a Seeker specific and the competition that we actually want it for. This is just basic, getting a character in, materializing it, getting it as an actual character and being able to move it in sequencer. So for the thrusters, these at the bottom, the blue ones, the yellow one, and the heatsink are the same kind of particle. This is just a pulsing one. So if we want to make another one of these, if you've got one, and I understand that some are actually different. So again, we'll have to look at material functions there. Google material functions, and you'll be able to do the one that ripples using the opacity skin and just have the function of it running down. There'll be a way of doing it, but I don't think any of my Seekers have got that. If they have, and I have to figure it out, I'll do a video. If not, I'll be too busy doing my scenes after today. But if we want to make one of these, we'll come to content. I'll just throw it anywhere here. What a Niagra system, basically. And if it's a thruster at the bottom, it's tend to want to be constant beam. So we want a fountain. We had a little look at this towards the back end of the previous stream, but I'll add another here now. Finish. I'll show you how quickly it can be manipulated. I won't even rename it to anything fancy. We'll just come straight into it, and we've got a stream. Now, the first thing we'll really do is decide on the gravity. If we turn gravity off now, it's not really going to fountain. It'll just fly up, and they don't come back down because gravity doesn't pull them down. If you do have gravity, we need to spend a little time familiarizing ourselves with this. This is quite new to me. So if you do have gravity, the mass will matter. The mass will dictate how long these particles stay in the air. Lower mass, they're going to float away like air would. It's still a molecule. It's got real world physics. You introduce a load of mass, it's barely even going to go up, and gravity will pull it straight back down. So you can imagine with the heat wave one, we just fizzled it out. There wasn't any mass, there's no gravity. We didn't even have gravity on the thrusters, really. There's no real need. The add velocity, again, the cone axis here, it's going up in the air. We don't want that, and we don't want to play around with it when we're attaching it to the mesh. We don't want to have to turn it upside down there, because sometimes we have to already tweak it. So we're going to go to this Z1, and we're going to make it negative Z1. And that fountain's going to flip round. Again, if you want it coming out the back of a car, of anything else, you want it coming out of a tree, exploding into a Seeker's face, and he bobs out the way, you can add them that way. Activate it inside sequencer. I've also got a link in the description for Independent Filmmaking tutorial and course. That is a proper in-depth course that you could spend a week doing on Unreal Engine. It's also got some great assets regarding a ship cockpit and planets and whatnot. I've used it in the past. Really, really good. Cone angle. Generally, probably want to keep it a little big. If you've got a big thruster and you want to bring it in to 3 or 5. If you've got a thin little thruster. We have initial particles, their lifetime. So if we want to draw this down, we're going 0.002, I think it was in the other one. 0.005 is the tiny one. Like, you can barely see that now because of the size of them. But 0.05, Scott. 0.05, not 0.05. Let's just save, compile. And then we play with the size. We can up them to 50. Reduce the bottom to 5. We could even, what did I, this is where we play. We don't necessarily remember what we did. Because I could legitimately just look at the other one. The spawn rate was around 1500. We're going big on that. 1500. So it starts really blasting out. It's not just a couple of particles. It looks like emitter state. The loop duration, infinite. Spawn rate, initial particle size, the radius. There's so many settings to sit around and play with. I don't want to do it too much, but the sphere radius, if we bring the radius to say 25, we get a fatter one. Bring it to 50, it gets even fatter. You can see it breaking up a little bit, so you're going to want to go back to spawn rate and up that to 2000 maybe even 2500. Maybe even 5,000. And just keep playing with the amount of particles that are actually coming out. What it looks like. We can go to add particle state, shape, location, initial size, the color. So whatever color you want it looking more orange. Is it blue for the smaller ones? So it's just a matter of getting the color wheel up and flicking to whichever color you want. Interesting fact. This was fascinating. So if you can see, I couldn't, like, and I still kind of want to figure it out, right, without, let me go to all. So we've got add here, content, add, import to game, or feature or content pack. So if you haven't, if you come here and you haven't got the starter content, and you want some of the starter content because it's actually quite good, it's got some materials in and stuff, you can add feature or content pack, and the content, it's there, starter content, add to project. You could also add the vehicle. If you wanted to add the vehicle, you can add the third person if you haven't got it in the project and you wanted to add it. Other stuff can be added there. If we search smoke, see, I was going to add that, and then I thought, no, I want to try and make my own smoke. And as I was making this pulsating one, so this is exactly the same as how I've just made the other one. But when I went to constant stream, this is directional burst, and there's just another tab where you can control the directional burst. And I was trying to make smoke to come out the exhausts where that heat wave's coming out. And the fascinating thing is, as easy as it is to make that heat wave out of this now, once you're at this position, if you want that heat wave, so once you've added it as a thruster, copy it, duplicate it, come back into it, maybe make it slightly bigger, look for wherever the scale is, make the angle slightly bigger, make the lifetime slightly bigger, the particles slightly bigger, change everything, come back to the color, and I was trying to make it grey. I wanted it grey, well, for smoke. But when it comes all the way down, it goes to alpha and becomes heat. Like, it disappears but doesn't disappear. So it's literally that particle there, that particle effect you see coming out of that now, heat wave in front of the trees, is just the thrusters, but with the color brought down to black from full color. And literally I was struggling to make it look like smoke. So what we might do is go back to the creator content and just put a little bit of smoke coming out, and then that's the heat. But I'll think about that. I absolutely love the way it looks with that heat thing. I'm buzzing. I found out about it, to be perfectly honest. I just accidentally fell on it, and with the bursting, it's boof, 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 boof. Quality. So that's a particle system, basically. It's how I came up with, it's how I got to them. Again, we could potentially tweak them a little bit more. We could add another one that maybe sparks a little bit every now and then. So it's psh, 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 psh. You know, just sparks coming out. So it's just a little bit of variance, a little bit more randomness. No doubt you could tweak the randomness if you sit there for ages. I just don't want to sit here on the stream too long tweaking it when you're going to want to do all that yourselves and find out what can be done. Because as with the heat, you'll come along things that you didn't expect and be, oh, I can use that. So with this opacity stuff, and we did it on the fluff as well at the end. This was the second mistake. So the first mistake was the screen that we did at the end of the last stream. Excuse me. And the second mistake was this lad here. Go back to a slower camera. We did him dirty. We only did the alpha. So let me actually come in to Chris's fluff. His materials. His tiger fur. Now this was wrong. Apologies. Apologies, did you dirty? That's black. It's not supposed to be black. But we do want the alpha. We want to remove the colour behind it. But this is RGBA. So it's taking the RGBA. You notice that that's RGB. Will bring back the actual back. Maybe it don't because we've got the alpha in there. That's bringing them together. Let me take that alpha off and it'll show you. So you've got that back. So we've just realised if we go RGB and alpha in opacity, it gives us what we want, actual coloured whiskers that you can see through at the edges. But this one at the bottom is them two combined anyway and can go straight in to opacity. No, it can't. Okay, maybe it didn't meet. Interesting. Because the RGB had to go in as well. That should work with that though. Muppet. Up to that, innit? No? Interesting. Again, I'm not going to sit here because there's so much you can do. So many different ways you can bring. We can add height. You could potentially take this into Photoshop, recolor it, grayscale it, normal it, bring it back in, and start doing some normal maps and create actual height within your fur and stuff. But not going to go that far. It's possible for you to go that far. I'm going to save that. Apply changes to the material. Yes, please. Yeah, DD, I got the FLR drop. I've not even looked or touched it yet, to be honest. This is a crypto video in a way, mate. It's metaverse, it's Fluff World Futureverse. It's basically what I've been waiting for. If you was watching the videos back in 2019 and we was talking about Interledger Protocol and XRPL and everything and things paying for things and all the bridges between different networks that will be made, interoperability being key. We was just desperate for something like this. Ready Player One film came about and we saw it. We was like, what? And this is it. This is basically it, mate. So Avaganda's had it, Futureverse, Fluff World. We can see the fur on his ears now has changed to the actual colour the fur's supposed to be. Right? And it's PNG transparent. Now I want to do the same for the whisker ones. And again, we're just going to RGB into base colour. Bring back that fur colour, baby. There we go. There we go. Save. You should be, you have to apply it to the material, but saving it automatically applies it. Applies all changes. It can be tedious and some people just leave it and then save all every now and then, but if you get a crash, if you're not saving every now and then crashes can really, really get you down. So, the fluffs. Want to animate them. Shown last week how to bring an FBX of Seeker in. When you've got your full fluff. We also shown how to go into a blender, break your Seeker down, bring it over the same, break your fluff or bear down, bring it over as you did the Seeker in pieces, in the traits pieces. So, if we come to get Chris's fluff, where are our documents? Chris's FBX. I'll just bring the full one in. So this is the full one. Can't take the top off. Can't take the glasses off. Now, we've already got this in here, so we could actually choose the skeleton of it that it already is. It also seems to want to be able to play with the bear skeleton, the Seeker skeleton for some reason. Interesting. Unreal Engine 4 man. You can try this. You'll potentially break it. If you do that, you'll affect the animations. You'll get a load of bone problems. So generally just make sure it's the first time you're bringing it in. If it isn't the first time, just take skeletal mesh off or assign the right one. You'll have to assign it after. But import animations this time, basically. With the Seekers, we turn that off to prevent any problems. Because it was giving a lot of people problems. I'm coming in broken. I'm not coming in at all. So import with animations. Import it. It's going to bring the Seeker in, the materials, the fluff in, the bearing, whichever one you want in. And it'll bring the animations with it. These animations was working fine. I set one up. Let me play. See Chris's fluff running about. Show you Chris's fluff running about. Turn the volume down on that phone. I don't know if you can hear that, but we'll do it anyway. Mute. Right, so for this fluff running about, press play. There's Chris's fluff as a character. I added jump, but don't jump till he's in the air. It's a bit weird. Added sprint. More like a fast walk that at the moment. What? So these animations come in with them. The dancing. They've got the dance there. They've got the walk. They've got the run. There's his walk. Again, play with the speed. You don't want him looking like he's walking too fast. You want the run to actually look like a run. The mushrooms, meshes have got no collision. So getting this fluff in with the animations is relatively easy, considering it all comes straight like that. You're pretty used to that by now after the Seeker, except for we didn't get all them animations with it. All these at the top. There's all its actual animations. Save, 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 save. We'll make a blueprint out of this the same way. I mean, you could just add the mesh to sequencer. We made a blueprint with the Seeker because it had an arm and loads of parts, and making the blueprint just snap the parts together. And then in sequencer, you'll have multiple ways then to call to the blueprint and get it moving if you can. I've tried a little bit of animation stuff, but it was breaking. When I spin the metal scanner ball, it works okay. And if I spin the wrist, it kind of works okay. Even though the temporary animations I did were a bit dodgy, but it worked okay. But doing them together, it didn't seem to want to work. Animation blueprint. So you can see when I've got the one in, it's rolling. Now I would want it smoother than it's going. I just did a quick record animation to spin that. And if I change that for this one, compile, that'll spin okay as well. So we set them up. There was recorded animations. So basically, if we come into the animation, if you've got something like the Seeker or something, if we come to something, the pose asset, so it's just actually no. We just want it. We want it so we can see that. Pause. Now you have to crop it, but say for instance we get the skeleton tree up and we've got the scanner, and you can see off this that spins it that way, right? So we'll just Control Z so it goes back to where it was. This at the bottom here, if we click record, it's going to be like, where do you want to save it? So we'll be like, well, in Seekers, in the Parrot Seeker, in the meshes, in the left arm, and we'll want it in there. It actually just starts recording straight up. Forgot about that, but you'll just move it. You'll have to be on it. Move it exactly how you want it, like that. Stop it. And then we'll have to crop it. So obviously we had to let go of it to go and stop it. So it'll stop before the end. In fact, we stopped it quite well there. We'll leave the end. Let's see the beginning. Actually just seems to want to move. That's not too bad. That actually just... I could have swore there was 7 seconds of that was gar. Or was it the new... That was it. It's not... I'm not even on it. Saved one. Jesus wept, Scott. Here we go. Not moving. There it moves. So all we want to do is right click and remove from 0 to 370 where we are. Boom. And we've got a new beginning now. So it starts moving. We go to where it stops moving and we want to crop it again. And we just right click. We don't want that one though. For some reason, 2 different ones go up. And now we want the end removed from 85 to 120. And we've got a little animation there. Now again, play with it. Play with it about. But with that animation, we just pull it in. How I've got them in there is just pull it from here, drop it, and you get one of them. And it'll want to play when you plug it in. So, animation blending. Gonna blend 1, blend 0, compile, not connected, compile. Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. I mean, I just don't want to do it. I don't know why. I've even put 0.5 in weight in each of them. So again, we have a play with them. In the end, I just left it to 1. The ball spinning. It just looks better for me for now. So we go to the fluff. Go to the fluff. Like we say, we can bring this in a sequence, or we can make a blueprint out of it. If you've got the full one, you're probably gonna no real need to make a blueprint out of it. If you've done it, oh Jesus wept. If you've done it like the Seeker, and you've brought it in parts, and you've got like glasses and nose rings and this and something in your hand and different tops and stuff like that, and you want to mix and match, then fill your boots, bring it in separately, make a blueprint, do it exactly the same way we did with the Seekers. Otherwise, once you've brought them in and you're ready to actually start shooting a little scene, I took sequencer out of here, deleted it, gone, not got one. So we shouldn't have any problems with it. Shouldn't have any problems with it. That needs to get out. There's still a sequence actor. Get out. Get out. Gone. Still add one. Add master sequence. We're just going to name it Seeker Scene 1. Why not? Seeker Scene 1. I only want one shot at the moment. No need for any more shots. We'll put it up to maybe 15 seconds. In fact, just click that fuller, 15 seconds. Nothing else really you need to worry about. Create master sequence. We come to this, and it's completely empty in the main window. We click in, and all we've got in here is a camera actor. We'll have a camera actor preloaded. If you haven't, just add actor, cine camera. If there isn't one there, come up here, all classes, find cine actor. Look, there's camera actors, there's loads of stuff here. Cinema camera is a little bit better quality with a few more features. The cinema camera actor. We are going to set the scene up where we want to start. So I'm literally just going to pan into these Seekers. I'm going to pan into him from here. I'm going to turn the camera down to a speed I actually want it to move. There's the camera. So all I want to do at first is add the actual seekers if we're going to move them about. So if we click that seeker there, add track, it should be at the, add seeker 2. It's there, should be at the top because you've clicked it. Add seeker 2 to the track. We can now add tracks to that seeker. So if I add track, transform track. Now bear in mind, look at what you're seeing below. That's a list of all the items in the seeker. Now I'm not about to sit here and go through every single thing in that. But I want you to highlight that it's potentially a transform track for all the little items on the seeker. Now that we did put the backpack on in multiple items in that one. In it, I think it'll just even break the mesh up even if you put it together. So we can call on thrusters, hide them, make them invisible, stuff like that. We can do all sorts from in here. Events, trigger, repeater, attach stuff to it. Just play, have a play. Use a couple of weeks you've got now to do a little pre-production play where you'll actually learn what you can and can't do, what you're going to be capable of. Then do a little production and then post-production in Photoshop or something right for the end for the 9th. I've got a feeling you won't see much in the 3D comp as in people uploaded and submitted until the last week. People might be locking onto their ideas or whatnot, who knows. But we can add a transform track to the seeker as well. So transform, if you're unfamiliar, you actually don't even know what I'm saying. It just means we can change the location, the rotation, and the scale of our seeker, or whatever we've got on it, for that matter. Now, we don't need to change the scale unless you want a seeker to grow in your scene for some reason. You would do that with the scale and change all 3 at the same size. You'll get uniform scale. If you only change one, it's just going to balloon out on one axis. Again, it's all mathematics. Some people are bored of maths, but when you're doing it to this, when it's helping you with this kind of stuff, it gets a little more interesting. So what we can do now, we're going to pilot that camera by clicking this button here. It's auto-saving on me. Yeah, sorry, Insomniac. If I left your comment for time, I'm zoned in, mate. Should look at comments a bit more, really. But yeah, I'm good, thanks. I am good. We're preparing for a competition, basically, within Futureverse. So what was I about to do then? Fly the camera up by pushing that little button, and it puts us in our camera. Camera's also in the scene. So we can come up here and click Scene, Camera, click it. Details, and we have some details of what this camera will start as. So before we actually start anything, we can tweak it here, and you can see the camera component. It can either be changed mid-sequence. So we've got a few different cameras we can use. We can use 16:19 digital film. We can use 35mm Academy. You can even go IMAX 70mm and give it a little tweak. There are loads of settings. Again, play about, do what you want. For now, we're going to go 16:9 digital film. We're going to pan around so we see the seekers. There's something happening with the LODs on the seekers there, with the screen going into the back. I'm going to try and figure that out, but that's something to be wary of if it shows up in the sequence, in the render, should we say. Spawned. What was it just saying? If we had a track, we want spawnable. We want convert to spawnable. I right-clicked on it. Convert to spawnable. So if we untick this now, boom, it goes away. Now, don't really want to do that on your seeker, but explosions, effects, like I was saying, if you're going to put a thruster on the seeker and he's asleep, don't want him lay down asleep with a thruster like... So what we do, add track, flipping it, what we want to do, add track, actor, find the, he's actually hidden now, so we can't even do it, so unhide him, add a track, find his thrusters, add the thruster, make it spawnable, unspawn it while he's asleep as he starts waking up and that, and then as he starts wanting to move, boom, spawn the thruster and he's off. Yeah? We're on it. We're on it. For now, we're not even got to camera yet. I keep tangenting off. Apologies, but I just want to cover all the little bits and go into a little bit of the depth, so you're not just doing a specifically panning around a Seeker. We can use what we learn now from the camera keyframes, and apply that to other things. So we're just gonna pretty much stay with the general aperture there at first. I'm not going to tweak it too much because I don't want to waste too much time. I want people to get cracking on their own. So we're going to lock the aperture, lock 35mm, and lock the manual focus. We're going to lock. So if we undrop this transform, we don't need all that because we're going to do it in one with the camera by piloting it. So if I just hit play, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just imagine how far you wanted to get in 5 seconds. And I'm thinking if we went over there like that and panned around at the same time, by the time we was there, we keyframe that again. We're still focused. No one's really out of focus there. So when no one's out of focus, we lock it in. If they was out of focus, we put them in focus. And then as we draw back here now, we check the focus. And if at any point they come out of focus, we just draw them back in a little bit with that manual focus distance. Change that a little bit, tweak it, slam a keyframe in. But if it's okay for you, then you just keep rolling with it now. That goes a bit early. What I want to do there is pull it to there and transform again, because it went a bit early for me. That him on the right was panning out a little bit, and it's as simple as that. The camera didn't quite go where I wanted, and it don't pan till the end now. It stays a bit straighter, then pans round. We can go a few more seconds and just make sure this doesn't happen too fast when we've finally done it, because we can drag and drop keyframes as will be shown right now. If we press E to climb a little bit and then go over the back, and you will notice we've lost a little bit of focus. So first, we're going to lock the transform in. Then we're just going to tweak the focus to that. I held it, pulled my mouse all the way to the right, and then I'll just bring it back, all the way to the left, sorry, and then I'll just bring it back to the right, nice and slow, until that Seeker comes into focus. Let go. Auto keyframe is usually on. If it's on auto, it literally is on by default. But you can see now we've lost, as we pan round to him, we didn't want that. Don't want to lose him. We want to actually be focusing on him more than the other two. So for that, from there, I think we should make sure he actually stayed there. Transform, tweak. Again, it's hard to tell, so if you just go out of focus, then bring it back, you're like, yeah, now that is in focus. Again, it goes out a little bit there. But if you wanted to focus on the yellow one and go round him, you'd stay focused on the yellow one. It's all which one you want to focus on, which point you want to stay on. I'll try and get through this relatively fast for you. But if you saw the one I posted where I was panning round him on Twitter, this was basically what I did. I'll come to there now. Transform. So that I want more like that. Now, if we want to make it bigger, we'll come back to the master here. We can just keep dragging it out. and it will keep going bigger. Now we've got a red line there, and that's blanked out. If we click back in, it's this, and that needs to go to the new end. Shift scroll, control scrolls, minimizing it. Alt scroll is going up and down. Alt scroll's doing nothing. Anyway, we want that little line. Control scroll more where it's red. So now we can drag that there, and we've made the clip longer. We've got more room to play now, basically. Superb. Right, let's play a few more seconds. Space bar to play. Now, what I kind of pan out of him and switch my focus to the yellow one, but I don't want it to happen that soon. But since my camera's already there, I want it to happen sooner, should we say? I'm gonna move that to there, and it's gonna. I'm not piloting my camera anymore. Pilot the camera. I wasn't piloting the camera during that key through. You know what? I bet that's what happened last time, wasn't it? End of the last stream. If you watch the first stream again, if anyone goes through it, check the end, and I guarantee I get a load of keyframes down, and I wasn't even piloting the flaming camera. Just keyframing the camera in the same place all the time, like a flaming idiot. Make sure you're piloting the camera. If you try to do it automatically like this, you're not actually moving the camera about. Damn, Scott. That's almost definitely what I did. That's funny, that. We ended up about there, didn't we? So let's back out again. Back out. Pan around a little bit. Out of focus a little bit now. Should have noticed that. Which way is it going to go? Oh, yeah, we can see the heat wave. We see the heat wave. That's what we wanted. Again, we don't want to go too far because I want to actually get to a point where I show you render things here before we get too much over an hour. Again, you can see that I want to shift focus now. So after that keyframe, I don't just want to go to him and end up at him. I want to turn to him. Keyframe. If you get used to keyframing, I don't know if anyone's got any Photoshop skills in the timeline, any Premiere Pro, where you'll generally take the render of this and go and do it in Premiere Pro. So if you're used to keyframing, then you're going to be used to a little bit of this formatting. It's just a little different because it's in a 3D. It's in a 3D environment instead of 2D. But again, people with Adobe After Effects experience could potentially have 3D experience. Hit a transform there. Seems focused, but you never know. Nah, it wasn't as good as it could have been. That's focused, mate. Boom, look how sharp that looks. Oh my days. Oh my days. So, when that flicks red, like it did then when you go out of it, you've come out of the camera. You've just got to try and notice it happen. You've got to try and notice your screen flick out, and it actually happens. Let's press play. You see the screen LODs. Something happening with the LODs there. So definitely a few focus tweaks needed. That needed to be a little trimmed. You know, so if that's happening too fast for you, whoa, what happened with the rotation then? If it's happening a bit too fast for you, you just come back out. Increase the length of it again. Go back in and just spread the keyframes out. Make the transitions a little bit smoother and whatnot. Yeah. And literally, if we pilot the camera again. If we have the Seeker transform, hit a keyframe. And then what we're going to do, we've got activating, and they're a bit static, aren't they? So if you come a couple of frames and just lift him up to there, keyframe, a few more frames, lift him down, keyframe. Now copper, paste, paste, paste. And it's bobbing, as easy as that. Is he bobbing at the right pace that you want him to bob at? Who knows? Spread the keyframes, make him bob higher, lower, press space. He's actually now moving probably way more than we actually wanted him to. So you go back in there, make them bobs a little more subtle, pull the keyframes apart, but you probably just delete them keyframes. Make sure you don't move him quite as much. But that's how you make your Seeker bob. We can start making him move after that. You could actually fling out of this screen here. Even though we've just done a big load of keyframes going around him, all we're going to do is get the rotation. And what we're going to do is straighten him up just so it looks better and it's easier for us to do. So you see that x-axis facing us there. We're going to rotate him till he's pretty much facing that axis. Alright. And then we're going to hit transform. Now he's turned away from us a little bit. We're going to go a couple of frames over and tilt him like that. Transform. And then over here, can actually come out the camera. Back to move arrows. Grab the Y. And just move him out of the way. Transform. See how fast he moves? How fast did he actually move out of the way? Let's pilot the camera again. He's going to turn a little. Whoa! See, I didn't want that, but I actually want that bad. Did a full 360 before he got off. That's crazy. That's him reading the maths the other way around. So instead of the tiny little rotation and moving, he did the bigger one and went. Probably be an easy fix on that. I've actually not had that problem before. But that'll be a Google. Broken rotation in sequencer. If that happens to you at a time that you don't want it, I actually thought that was pretty cool then. I believe in that on. It's not a problem for me there now. I can imagine it becoming a problem. And I've not had it before, so I don't know what it is, but I actually like the way he just flings on a whoop, see ya. Oh, that's quality. Whoop, whoop, gone. Yes. And the see the thrusters. Thrusters actually move with the wind. They've got drag. So there's drag on the thrusters, which you would expect at the very end of the thruster. So we get to the point where we've shot this 30-second shot. It's actually playing how we want it to play in the sequencer. And we're thinking, do you know what? This is the first shot. This is the beginning. You might have several shots that you're going to shoot, but you need to get something in Premiere Pro so you can start doing what you want to do with it, adding some audio, some music, some sound effects, whatever. You can cue sound effects on here, but I tend to prefer doing that in post in Unreal Engine. It's entirely up to you how you do it. But when it comes to the point, we're just going to render it, all right? It's literally just render this movie to a video or image file sequence. Now, you don't really want an image file sequence unless you're used to doing it. This is where you'll take every frame as a picture, and it will be a picture on your machine. You don't really want that. if you want a bit of real life motion blur, you want 24 frames per second. That's why it says film. It's more realistic. It looks real. It's what your eyes would see. If you move your eyes at a certain speed, you don't see everything with clarity. That's just BS. There's a bit of motion blur. If you want that realism motion blur, keep it on 24 frames per second. If you don't want the motion blur and you want it as crisp as, say, like a game clip is, you know, the pre-rendered story mode game clip where the graphics look mint and it's crisp as there's no blur at all. You want 60 frames per second. I wouldn't go to 120 or 240 unless you've got a powerful machine to do the render for you, because 240 frames per second on just a 10-second clip, pushing your GPU, mate. 24 frames per second is preferred for most people because they like the realism. So we can basically image output format, keep it in AVI. That'll go into Premiere Pro, no danger. Where we're going to save it, output directory. We don't really need game mode overrides. We've not really done anything else. We literally don't need to touch any of this. We just literally want our resolution, 4K. The better the quality here, it's going to glitch when you watch the AVI. So the minute this is rendered, if you go and watch it, it will just glitch like hell. It just will, because it's a 4K AVI. Another thing to note is use compression. If you use compression, you might not get a bit of that, but you'll lose a bit of quality. Yeah, I just go, don't. I mean, I've got several hundred gigabytes to the side of me, ready for this kind of thing, so I don't mind doing it uncompressed. But I'll tell you right now, uncompressed at 4K 16:9 is a gigabyte per second at least. Yeah, at least, depending on your textures in your background and stuff like that. If you've got like the 8K mushrooms, mate, and your camera goes close to them mushrooms, and in sequence you're thinking, yo, this looks proper sick, fair enough, it will, and it does, and it will in the render. But your computer better have the room for it. A gigabyte per second with no compression. Well, I'd go between a gigabyte and a gigabyte and a half, depending on your mats and your materials. But it's literally, once you're ready with that, you just catch a movie. It'll want to save anything that's unsaved before it does it. Little tip there to save all and save project before you start this. One, because you never know if it's going to crash on you. And two, it'll want you to do it anyway. Getting a little render screen over here now, but I want you to see it. And it renders like this. That's interesting. Them seekers fell then because they wasn't brought into sequencer and keyframe with a transform. Would keyframe the transform, would held them there. They can't move once that transform's been keyframed. It won't move till you tell it to move again and keyframe it again. The fact we didn't bring them in and keyframe them where they was means they fell on the ground. Again, this is looking really jittery and that, but we'll get a bit of motion blur as he turns around in 24 frames per second. We'll get a blur as he shoots off at 24 frames per second. 200. That LOD on the Seeker there, no one's gonna like that. It didn't happen on my first few videos, so it's only happening coming in from a distance. But you can see that the eyes have completely disappeared from that Seeker at the moment. That is LODS, LODS, level of detail. All right, LODS, look at that. We should have took him further. He's still in the view there. It's going to pan round, render the whole thing real time. I have got a Ryzen 7 CPU in a MSI motherboard. I've got 32 gigabytes of RAM. I've got an RTX 2060 GPU. And this is a real-time render. It's even got the end where I was done and... Looks a bit higher than I was. But it also doesn't look like the first 4K, so you can't really judge it until you've seen your final render. But you might have to render it a couple of times, might have to tweak it. Something's going on there that we didn't do. So we didn't do that. I don't know what the hell happened then at the end of that. Sequencer can play up quite a bit at times, being honest. You've got to, it used to work, it works so much better and so much easier in 4.26 and 4.27. I shot a short film on 4.26 and 7. It's on the YouTube called The Hunted. That's what's capable with just a couple of months of learning how to do it and doing the independent film course that's in the description. I use some of them assets to do the Android in orbit around the planet in the ship. That's finished now, and it looked like it had done broken, to be perfectly honest. But like all development and creative stuff, it's just about troubleshooting now. You heard about I probably should have looked at where that was being saved. You look at Hollywood reshoots happen all the time. Literally, like, all the time. I've just remembered as well. Where they save is in the actual games folder. So whatever game you're in where you've saved your actual game, if you come in here, you'll have saved video captures. And the video captures are here. It's that one. 15.3 gigabytes. So that one's 43 gigabytes, that one is. 34 gig. Have a gander what this one was. This is the first one where it panned. That was one that didn't go very well. Why did I move that? What? It's 30 odd gigabytes just for that. I actually don't own them, Fluf, so that one can't be used in the competition. Again, there's an AVI. 4 gig AVI this. It's not going to play well at all. It's going to glitch like mad. That's like that Seeker in that Seeker's screen. That's fascinating. The eyes of them other two don't seem to be doing it as much. Focus was well out. We needed to spend a hell of a lot more time on that. You understand that. This is not like, you can see the motion blurred a little bit as well. Imagine that 1 second that he turned around. We had 24 pictures that you saw at 240 frames per second. You'd have 100 times more pictures. So there'd almost be no blur. But it's going to take you all day to render it. So it's a matter of just troubleshooting and just understanding that your very first render is likely not going to be the final one, and that's okay. It's okay. Professional directors for Warner Brothers and Disney do reshoots. Everyone does reshoots. It's part of production. Just try and do it before you're in post-production. Try and get as many decent, clean-cut clips as you can of your scenes. Put your scenes together in your story or your clip, all in little shots. Maybe take your shots as small as you possibly can. Just do little shot here, little shot there, little shot there, little shot there. And then in Premiere Pro, you can merge all your shots together. That's how they make a movie. That's how they make a movie. They go to one location, shoot a little scene, go to another location, shoot a little scene, go to another location, shoot a little scene. Your shots don't have to be 2.5 minutes long. They can be 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. Just a tiny little clip of the Seeker. Seeker passes a tree. Poof, gone. What was that? Seeker, boom, gone. What was that? Boom, boom. Can barely even see it. And all of a sudden, boom, it stops and we get a close-up and it pans round it and boom, it's gone again. Clip over. You could shoot that in literally 4 1-second clips where you're wondering what it is zooming back. Literally just 1, 2, 3 seconds. And then the pan around 10 seconds. Start with little clips like that. Don't over-exert yourself too soon. So, I mean, if we take a little ganders, in fact, should be able to just get it up there, actually. Probably deleted it now. The Genesis crates. Hide them. Don't want anyone to see. If anyone watched the stream the other week where he had the crates in, this is Ooh. Wasn't going to be showing that for several weeks yet, but I thought I'd give you a little taste. So anyone watching the stream gets to see the one of the assets we are working on for our project. I actually deleted it the other day. What an idiot. What an idiot. It'll be on Twitter. But I just want to show people the kind of clip they can enter on, and it might not win, but it gives you the confidence to drop a clip down there and begin. You know, at least get going. What am I doing here? Profile. Look at that clip. That's shot in Unreal Engine. Then moved there. So that's the 3D asset. There's moving that through Unreal Engine above the floor in sequencer and panning the camera around him as he pops. All these trailers that we see will be shot in World now. The Worlds of that, I mean, they're 9 months off or something, aren't they, from dropping? It's Walker World and Fluff World. It's supposed to be dropping the end of this year, I think. So they're filming it all inside their versions of Unreal now. Drop Bear Dad, smashing it, mate. Smashing it. He's found out a way of getting his Seekers in his garage. Again, keep an eye on his page for his videos. Keep an eye on the 3D thing. The actual channel. Where they are. How long ago was this? This one. Oh. Well, now you see, you understand how easy a clip like that is now. Simply just panning around an asset. That's as easy as it gets now. I'm not saying just go and do one of them and submit that like that, but 27 seconds just to pan round an asset. If you could just do pinging past a few trees, your own creative interpretation is to be used during this competition. One little thing I'm gonna have a look at is the LOD on that. See if there's any LODs on it. Seekers kind of committed to orange Seeker now, even though it's clearly LODs. None. LOD auto. LOD auto. LOD 0. No LOD. No LOD. No LOD. No. Fuck. Let's see if that has it's not fixed it. In fact, did it break it even more? That's what happens to trees and plants with LODs at low level of detail. We don't want that happening. That'll be one of the things I tackle next, I think. Interesting. Again, I don't really want to be doing any stuff I don't know and experiment. I might figure it out in 2 minutes. Might take me 2 flaming hours. I'm not doing that on a stream. We're basically at the point where I just want to jump back in to cinematics, sequences, Seeker scene, master. Oh, it's flaming there. Mop it. Didn't close it. Party bear. Party bear. It don't even matter which one he is. It was Chris's fluff. Got Chris's fluff in. Alright. It's already, give me an animation track. Because there's animations in there. Alright? There's animations in there already. Add animation. We imported them. Alright? We imported them. They're already here waiting for you. Fluf wave. Give me Fluf wave. And it's put it right where this cursor is, you see. Whatever that is where it's going to do that animation. We're going to grab the end. No, we're not. Maybe we're not. We'll grab that end then. And just do the other end, mate. And what? For some reason it didn't want me to do that end. But he's waving now. Hey! Hey! And he'll wave all sequence during that animation. Alright? We can also put it at the end. And we can go another animation. And we go skin test is the dance. Skin test. Get skin test in here. But we don't want to... You see how he's pose? And if we put this up to the side of there... He goes like... He puts his arm into it. He blends into it. Now, the more you draw that over... If we just zoom in... You can see the blending taking place. You see that one drops down, slopes down. This one slopes up and takes over. So he goes from his wave... And then it blends. His hands go down as his other hand's coming out. And it blends in to that animation. And it's nice and fluid. It's nice and fluid. So when you've got an asset, I highly encourage you, if you own a Fluf or Bear, because I sadly don't. I in the game too late and I haven't actually grabbed one yet. But do yourself a little scene where you've got a few Fluffs and Bears dancing about, one's walking past, and just have your Seeker generally floating about them. You don't have to worry about animating your Seeker's hands then and worrying about too much about the animation of the actual Seeker. As long as it's got the thruster coming out, you've got some audio there that you can hear the sounds of it, and pull your GIF into Premiere Pro and just delete the video of the GIF and you'll have the audio, so you'll have the sound of your Seeker either way. That's how I got it for that other clip we've just watched on Twitter. Just pulled the GIF into Premiere Pro and snap the audio from it. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of the assets you've got with the built-in animations that are coming over straight away, because a clip of, if I had that Fluf and I created 10 copies of them stood in a circle, all facing in, all doing that dance as if they're worshipping whatever's in the middle, and there's just a little Seeker in the middle bouncing about, that's a decent little clip, especially depending on the camera movement and the angles you come up with and think of. Again, your own creative interpretation. Don't worry too much about animating the Seeker. Just doing a camera animation around a Seeker with it bobbing up and down is an animation. It is able to be. You don't need to animate the Seeker just to submit the clip. So I feel with them two streams, most people should be able to just go at it. Most people should be ready now. I understand that a few noobs will still be a little bit wary, especially if you've not even downloaded Unreal Engine yet, but just download Unreal Engine, get on it, open a project, open the Biomes one that's free for this month. Literally just open the Biomes one. Like, it's Marketplace. I'm going to have a look again at the other ones. We've got Biomes 117. We've got a triplex house villa. We've got full animations bundle. Now it's a shame because them animations will be for the Unreal Engine. Skeleton. Animation types, root motion in place, number of animations, rig to epic skeleton, yes. Now, if you do a little re-rigging tutorial on YouTube, how to re-rig skeletons on Unreal Engine, you'll potentially find a tutorial that helps you get through that in time and introduce more animations to your Fluffs. You can use Control Rig to potentially animate the Seeker as well. Came off it then. Blaming idiot. Wanted to stay on Marketplace. So it's not like you struggle to populate your scenes. Quarry collections, dry grass. I mean, what's this? Is this the wasteland in Fluf World or what? Like, is that? So number of new unique assembly meshes. Got 15 meshes, 120 total meshes, millions of triangles. It's lodded up. Light maps, UVs, collision, number of material instances, materials, boom, boom. Support development platforms. Quality collections to a high resolution. There'd be no demo level in that, but a hell of a lot of cliff assets and that. And again, just for the little clip, just a little clip, you'd be surprised how fast you can make. You can make a little scene where the Seeker's just flying past a few different types of rocks. I mean, you lie these rocks up, one after the other. Start with that one and he's next to it. Move on to that one, then that one, then that one, then the few. That's just a few pictures of a few cliffs together. It goes in the circle and back out. You can make a scene relatively easy with that. Mega scans. Again, we saw before earlier in the thing. Always free collection. You will. Landscape Pro 2 auto-generated. That'll have a map. Half of this stuff in here now will have demo maps. The City Park Environment Collection is absolutely massive. There's a Matrix one. It is recommended you have, I think it's 64 gigabytes of RAM. Matrix City Sample. The City Sample. This is an absolute beast. And it's a full city. It's a full city. Like, what? What, mate? Like, it's got blueprints of vehicles, crowds, like actual crowds. You know, like, it's all procedural. The people, the cars, you can just get them all procedurally generating. If your PC will open it, you could have your Seeker flying through what's pretty much Matrix City. What is it built? Is it designed off an actual American city? I'm not even entirely sure, but it's absolutely look at it. It looks almost real, like almost real. I mean, that just pretty much looks real. That's photorealistic, straight up. It's a photorealistic city in most areas, I'd imagine. So, yeah. Don't be scared of going in the marketplace. Free tab. There's free for the month. There's permanently free. There's all sorts to be going at. I'm interested in thinking of this sounds. If you're struggling for sounds, like, you'll get crazy sounds in spell sounds. 615 audio waves, 615 audio cues. Minutes of audio provided, 33 minutes in total of audio of all loads of stuff like that. Elemental and magic skills, fire, arcane, shadow, water, ice, nature, electric, wind, healing spells, positive effects, buffs, cast magic whooshes, negative and fail effects, cast it up. Again, once you've got them in the project, just migrate them to another file, like pull them from the files relatively easy and get them sounds into Premiere Pro in post production, and you're ready to go. So yeah, there may be another stream if I figure out some of the things like the LOD in the front of the Seeker's face and stuff like that. If I actually end up figuring that out or pulling the animations or whatnot, I'll do another video. But I feel like I'm just gonna go forward now and shoot one of my scenes. I'll even do a few streams of progress and stuff when I've submitted them. Like I say, if I figure anything out or find anything where I feel it could help yous, namely that LOD there. And he's not doing it. The yellow one seems to be doing it more here for some reason. It's just certain angles, innit? It's extremely interesting, that. Is it just... It's like a reflection of... Once I get here, it's okay. But don't want to be that close for it. It's even starting there. It's crazy, that. Crazy, that. We need to... we'll have some questions about that in the Discord and stuff. If anyone figures this out... If I figure this out, I'm going to be shooting around this at the moment. I'm going to have a little look at the LODs again. But to be honest, when I went to 0, it was doing automatic LODs, wasn't it? And when I said no LODs, kind of expected it to fix it. Not going to lie. Not going to lie, expected a fix then. And I could spend a couple of hours thinking about it. I can see it lodding in. It's level of detail. It's 100%. Right, let's find some grass. Find some grass. What's this grass? This is foliage. You see it moving. And the level of detail. See the level of detail of that grass. It's actually... LOD change there. See it? See the LOD change. The level of detail. It's subtle. But you saw the darker bits go away a little bit. And there'll be another one where, I mean, it'll just completely disappear in the end. I thought it had completely gone by now, to be honest. But when I swapped the LODs on that, I thought we was done and fixed then. It's likely polygon count is too high. In crypto blockchain, you need to lower the polygon count on there. On there, if not reset the GPU specs to a lower rate, could even be low frame rate. I'm pretty sure nanite's on me. Make it a bit bigger. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, Peckham, I'm pretty... Ooh, just because nanite's on doesn't mean they've been converted, does it? Let's go wireframe. Level of detail coloration. Mesh LOD. Hierarchical LOD color. It's not the LOD. Fucking rocks, man. They've not got LODs. Like... that change is well more visible with that mode on. Don't usually play much in this mode because I don't usually get these problems, being perfectly honest, Peckham lad. What's going on, mate? You think the amount of polygons, guys, this is all made out of Jesus wept. Don't need to see that, do you? Everything in here is made out of polygons, triangles, and quadrilateral. Oh my days. Right. Tools. Nanite tools. Nanite tools. Opaque. Non-opaque blend mode. Non-opaque blend mode. Non-opaque blend mode. That screen's non-opaque. Vertex interloperate. Going on new stuff. I mean, it's on. Nanite's on. Close that down. Interesting. This is what I don't want to do on the stream though, is just sit here for hours, try to sit and figure stuff out like this. Because it can be proper teed. I mean, I love it, man. I can sit here playing with this all day. And I don't actually mind doing the stream, but I want people saying that if I figured it out, it would be valuable, but I've got too much in the way here. Too much in the way. There's too much in the way. So what we need to do, stop going on that, Scott. Lit, back to the normal. What we need to do is get one of them in a scene that's relatively on its own. Literally, if you literally just come to your flaming browser, content, one up here, new level, file, new level, open world, and create, just save the selected thing. Because it allows you the big open space. No interference, just another, just a plane. Got some mountains in the background and whatnot, but for I'm telling you, this is why, like, right. So this is what we were saying in a chat the other night, right? There's too many people talking about like the quality of the assets. Now, I'm all for the quality of your rendering on OpenSea being absolutely banging. And it needs to be, mate. The like you see in our box then. Keep an eye out later in the year for the box. But the box you're seeing during this, that Genesis crate I've built, it's like we need that to look banging. And at the moment, I feel it looks pretty good, but that's just a common one. And we need other tiers on top of it, so we're still in the production, but they've got to look banging on OpenSea. But for the game, you need low poly versions, otherwise hardly anyone is going to be able to play it. You're talking about, like, not a lot of kids have got the performance to play it. Like, my nephew, for instance, I built my nephew a PC off my scraps when I upgraded. So he got me Ryzen 5 when I went to a 7. He got, I got him 2 sticks of RAM, brand new, but he got my old graphics card as I upgraded to the RTX. I got a 266 gig. I should have got. We all need thread rippers. I'm telling you. But once you're in a level like this, you can go back to your Seekers, back to your actual character, and drag him in here then, and you can get a look at him with nothing really in the back. We got a wire view in here now. It should look a little better. Yeah. There's nothing all the way around him now. We can actually see through him a bit better. It just allows you to work with the asset a bit better when it's on its own, isolated. And we could go one further, turn the lighting down. We could actually remove the plane, make it really dark and that if we wanted, but it's still happening there, you see. But it's not happening. It's not happening to the wire. It's not happening to the level of detail. So how is it even happening? Like, what? What? Like, you'd expect to see it there. That's a lot. Like, if it was a LOD, it'd be lighting up as you move away. We're going a different colour to see when the LOD's changed. There's no LODs on it. And we took it off. That's a mystery, and I'm not going to sit here for 3 hours trying to figure it out. So, for now, we're good to go. $2.5 grand for the GPU. Ooh. I'm telling you though, it's a lot of people will be playing these worlds in low poly. That's all I'm saying. As good as some of these assets look in some renders and in some scenes, like, no doubt, these look absolutely epic. They're some of the highest quality assets I've seen in a long time, especially when you're getting close and start playing with the materials yourself. I mean, they are banging assets. They are game ready. If you ever wanted proof that the asset's game ready, they're here in game engines. And yeah, I'm an aspiring game dev with great ideas. Yeah, and we're still learning. But at the end of the day, we all know if we all get projects off the ground, we all try pushing our own projects, we're all building the Futureverse together, we're all going to get land, the opportunity to build out. There's going to be an EDF, which is the Elder Fund within the Fluff World Futureverse DAO. So whoever submits their ideas, if you've got an idea right now for a project you would like to see implemented in and with Fluff World and Futureverse, but you can't see a way of getting it off the ground, once the EDF comes about, I'm not sure how often it's going to invest in projects, but you will submit your idea for a project and the community will decide if it gets invested in or not. The Elder Fund within the Futureverse decentralized autonomous organization. I'm super excited about that. Like we say, we're going forward with our ideas and projects anyway. You'll see more of it towards the back end of summer. I'll even give you another cheeky little look at the box, because why not? Why not? This is what we built. So this will be a common box at the moment. The graphic on the front might change that yet, and the PNG will likely be actually related to the wallet that it lands in. Let me actually knock the volume down. Yeah, so the crate number will be the actual crate number. We'll have an actual function for the QR. There'll be some traits inside. It will come with multiple other assets. So like the ASM crates and the ASM boxes, we plan to distribute multiple assets on top of this. This will just be the Genesis mint. People's going to buy this. They will get stuff like the bio key that it's missing. They will get a fusion fuel cell. They will get whitelisted for the first skinned asset. Don't want to say what they are yet. It's kind of pretty obvious what theme we're on though. So yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but we're working on our own project, and basically this is the current model of the common Genesis crate. That was made in Blender. I made it in Blender. Game ready asset. Some of you saw on the stream the other week. The stream I did about ASM and AI agents inside Unreal Engine. I went up against some Lyra agents. Brought the box in and that. It's pretty cool. Showed some tiling on it. It was good to see an asset I'd created inside Unreal Engine. Super stoked about that. So, yeah, exciting times ahead. Got an anomaly explosion there because I get excited about when I start talking about it. So, you know what I mean? You can imagine the Fluff World guys, you know, when they say the solicitors like telling us to knock it on the head and stop revealing shit. It's hard when you're excited about something you're working on to not tell people about it. So we have an anomaly event based in our lore, and that's basically what I'm doing at the moment. I'm a little bit of a lore geek, so I'm loring it out. I'm coming up with them all. I went into Photoshop, and I used the theme of the void, the tear in space, the portals, and came up with an anomaly and lore, and we'll build from there. Like we say, if it needs to be funded by the EDF or something else in the end, we will do, but hopefully over the summer, you'll get a lot more information on it. There's a couple more people in on the project with me, including Chris from CryptoPunk and a few others, so stay tuned for more of that. Let us all know what you get up to inside Unreal Engine regarding the competition. Good luck to everyone. I've done this so everyone can get involved a little bit. I hope you do well. I mean, there's only 3 people that can win. I'm kind of hoping I'm one of them. But if not, congratulations to the people that do win. And good luck to everyone else. Yeah, I'm getting excited about it. So let's get creating, guys. Yeah, you know the script. Live long and hodl, baby. Live long and hodl. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.